Welcome back to the Takara Hangar. This is Mike, and happy Friday, everybody. Hope things are going well. Today I want to talk about this parkour. With this TF Con in Toronto, we actually got some great pictures of the parkour. This thing is a prototype. These are no longer renders, so we can see it for all of the good and the bad. To be honest, there's a lot more good about this, and there's a lot of things I like about this more than I like about the other versions we're going to look at. We're going to compare this to the MMC, the X-Transbot, of course Takara, or the Takara rumored one, and then we're going to talk about the height. How big is this going to be, and how big will their Bumblebee be? We'll talk about all this coming up. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is how it looks, the aesthetic of this guy, and I want to say that this looks really good. Just standing on merit alone and looking at its own pictures without comparing to anyone else, if you look, it's more or less a clean design. Now, you do have some kibble on the back, and if there's going to be kibble, that's where I want it to go. The sides do have a bit of kibble, showing some screws, which is a little unusual for a Fanstoys product. But overall, they're kind of doing what no other company's been able to achieve, a very clean-looking Bumblebee slash Cliffjumper. In the obligatory A stance that we usually see these guys in, this is a very nice representation. It's very clean, very tune accurate, well, for the most part. But looking at this, it doesn't suffer all of the same issues that the competitors do because it doesn't have a massive backpack. The waist looks more or less correct. There's a couple things I would like to see a little different about the waist. Just kind of like where the windshield stops and the waist starts, that just looks a little bit unclean in that area. But that's a super nitpick in my opinion. The feet look very clean, especially compared to what Takara did with their Bumblebee. So overall, this is a fantastic looking figure. Showing the alt mode, kind of surprising. The doors do open, so that's really cool. And the fact that it is Toon inspired. It is a Toon-inspired look, which kind of the Penny Racer look, but not as exaggerated as Penny Racer. Looks really cool, and I'm in on the Toon design. I am a Toon guy, so I know a lot of people out there, they want the standard cars. Those already exist. X-Transbots, MMC, leave those in the alt mode, and then have this one in your bot mode, or don't get this one at all. I mean, I don't really care if you get this one or not. I'm just saying that I am a fan of this, so I'm not a Fanstoys fanboy. I don't just gush over everything they make, but I do like the fact that this is Toon. They're going to have all the same gimmicks. You're going to have the sled kind of gimmick, the snow skis and all that kind of stuff. Maybe Batman can surf behind it, and that'd be kind of fun with the surf pants. Maybe not. Looking at the windshield, it does look to be pretty close to what Takara is doing with the coloration of the windshield also, so I like that. I like that. It's going to fit in with your Takara stuff, and I don't know so much about all the rest of the Fanstoys don't exactly have that. But anyway, it will fit with your Takara, and that works. So I'm going to keep this sort of the same, whether it's the bot mode or the alt mode. And what I'm going to say about this is that the one on the left is MMC, and the one on the right is X-Transbot. So those already exist. We already have those. Now, we kind of went through this battle when X-Transbots came out, and I don't think iGear or Impossible Toys are even relevant enough to even call Masterpiece these days. So I want to include those comparisons. And the mainline Hasbro, that comparison is not really appropriate here because all of this blows that one away from the front design-wise. Now, with the first two, if you look to the left, the MMC one, the whole waist area is kind of a mess. They even redid this to make it look a little bit better. It's got a kind of a paint job for the waist. For the upper waist is now painted black, where it was silver before or kind of gray before, and so that all looked like kind of a crazy mess. It's still a crazy mess in the waist area. I don't really know why that is. And even on the Fanstoys, they had a little bit of trouble with it, and I kind of like what was going on in the waist area a little bit better for the X-Transbots. But for that, that's my biggest nitpick about the Fanstoys. Comparing them side by side, the bigger problem with the one on the right, X-Transbots, is the ginormous backpack. So I really think, looking at all this, it resolves all of those issues. We're looking at the head sculpt. I think the head sculpt is fine on the Fanstoys. I don't know if it's the best Cliffjumper head sculpt that could ever be made, but maybe MMC is even better. But it's fine. It's not terrible. And I think it is better than the X-Transbots version right there. And of course, with the the Toon look to the coloration of the face. That's probably correct. The color of the windshields and all of that kind of stuff. MMC on the left is real light. I think Fanstoys nailed the color on it, and X Transbots is a bit too dark. And then going down to the lower legs, I think everything on the legs is cleaner on the Fanstoys, way cleaner on the Fanstoys than either of the other options. And then the feet are way cleaner than either of the other options. Even though the feet still are a little, they're not perfect, but they're the best that we've seen. So that's kind of where we are with this. This parkour is probably as close to perfect as we're going to get for Bumblebee or for a Cliffjumper for any time. Well, anytime soon. And continuing the bot mode comparison side by side, looking at this, we have the Takara one on the left. Now, I think there's something mistransformed or something wrong there. There's something wrong there. So it's kind of hard to say, oh, well, yeah, Takara completely sucks. One of the biggest problems with Takara, the feet. But from this angle, you really can't truly see how bad the feet are from the back and the sides. But from the front, they don't look bad. They don't look bad at all from the front. It's the sides and the rear where it breaks up. And I can't even see the sides and rear on my display shelf from this angle that I look, so it doesn't bother me at all for the Bumblebee. But, again, Fanstoys is going to win the foot. And then it's cleaner on the thighs. Fanstoys is cleaner on the thighs than the Takara one. But the weird thing about Takara is the short arms. Like, they're really short. It just seems like they're really short. Maybe the legs are just really long, and that throws the proportions of the arms off, because the parkour arms go down to the same level of the waist, but they don't seem as short. So that's something, and it's the same kind of thing with the Bumblebee. But on the shelf, of course, the Bumblebee doesn't look proportionally off, but in this picture, it does. So look at them side by side. I don't really think the Takara one is horrible. I do not hate the Bumblebee mold, and I do not hate what Takara is doing here. But I will give it to Fanstoys. It looks a little bit better. Okay, so sticking with this alt mode. On the left, we have the MMC Hellion. He's a Hellion, all right, and his door's open. And we have the Fanstoys, and his door's open. I believe the X Transbot door's open. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've transformed it. I really just don't remember. I think they do also. But looking aesthetically, it's strange. When you look at it like this, on the right, you see a perfect real car scenario. That thing looks like it's a real car. You can get in and drive away. Fanstoys looks like the cartoon, and then MMC looks like a let's split the difference and go somewhere in the middle. So looking at that is kind of interesting when you step back and look at it like this. But when we were in the midst of X Transbots versus MMC, it was like, oh, they're both real car. None of them were going tune. But it took Fanstoys to show us what true tune was, and of course Takara when we finally see that. All right, so getting into comparing Takara versus this one, it's really hard to get a good solid angle on it, but we all pretty much know what the Bumblebee looked like, and this is an unreleased Takara, unrevealed Takara project that some are even questioning it's not even Takara. Some are trying to say that it's a KO company taking a KO of the Bumblebee and trying to make it into this, which is why it's taking so long, and which is why it doesn't look like it's very professional. Anyway, looking at all of this, though, I do think that the Takara one in the alt mode looks okay, but it really is kind of hard to keep it in the alt mode. I'm pretty sure that the Fanstoys one will hold together more solid in both modes. And then the other thing about this is I don't know, I'm a little curious about the spoiler being sort of detached in the back versus it's attached on the Fanstoys. So there's a couple of things here and there, but the biggest problem is that Takara doesn't even follow their own blue windshield, blue window kind of thing they started, and Fanstoys is following up with that. So it's really strange that we're not even getting Takara windows with Takara, but we're getting Takara windows with Fanstoys. But still, at the end of the day, I think overall I'm kind of liking what I see with the Fanstoys more than what I like with the Takara when it comes to the alt mode. And with that, I'm just wondering, will we ever see this Takara one? Well, this brings another discussion. As you can see by these images, they are branding this as a Fanstoys and giving it a Fanstoys number FT53. So there's a lot of question like, oh, are they going to make it Robot Paradise? Or are they going to make it Perfect Fusion? Or are they going to come up with something else? I don't know, Mini Bot Monsters or something, who knows? But the thing about it is that they show the promo images as it being a Fanstoys. So maybe they know something we don't. Maybe Fanstoys knows that, hey, this really isn't a Takara Cliffjumper being produced right now. Or maybe they're going to put it out in that ultra generic packaging we got with the Trailbreaker. I mean, who knows? They're playing the game, and they know how to play the game. Fanstoys knows how to play the game. They know how to stay in trouble, not to get their wrists slapped. And they're going to do what they got to do. But I just wonder. It just seems strange. They're working on this at the same time that allegedly Takara is. So I do like this picture. I think this is the key to understanding the size of this Cliffjumper, and then of course the Bumblebee. And in my mind, I was like, oh, it's going to be much bigger because it's Fanstoys, and Fanstoys adds a little bit to the size and the scale. Like their scale's a little bigger than a Takara scale, in my opinion, and I like that idea. And so I like a little bit bigger bot and all that kind of stuff. But I'm starting to wonder if it's actually going to be shorter than the Takara offering, and here's why. Now, this could actually start another debate or discussion, but is the Outback a retool of Braun? Now, that could be a whole discussion all in itself because there are so many different parts on it, but is Outback the same height as Braun? Will Outback be taller than Braun? But if they're around the same height, which I guess I could find that picture somewhere, right? They've probably done a promo picture of those two guys side by side. But if you look at it, you could look and see that he just appears shorter comparing him next to the Takara, Bumblebee, and Braun versus the Fanstoys, Cliffjumper, and the Outback. I mean, that's logical, I guess, but then again, what if Outback is a bit taller than Braun? So a bit of a stretch right there, but it's kind of how my mind works. I always start to wonder scale until we get it in hand and see it side by side. I guess we'll never really know, right? So I'm curious what you guys think about this Parker. I mean, I've already heard and seen tons of positive comments and people saying that this is one of the favorite reveals of TFCon and they're most excited for this figure. One of the top figures people are excited for past finishing their combiners and of course getting the Blitzwing. There's this guy. And so with that, he is a replacement figure, but he's a pretty good replacement figure overall. Yeah, this is going to be a fast, quick video. It's how I like my cars and how I like my Transformers. Fast and easy. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Out.